AmeriCorps is a win-win for everybody. It helps those who are served, of course, who can benefit from additional services and programs. It also helps, of course, the people who serve. It ignites a spark of volunteerism and service that can carry them, as stated, into their careers, to be teachers or to be attorneys general. I worked in a service program that became an AmeriCorps program. We worked with children and families in public housing neighborhoods. We provided enrichment programming and mentorship and other services to help support those children in those communities. And that sparked my career in service. It was probably to this day the most meaningful and impactful work that I've done. So to me, AmeriCorps wasn't just about a cut to funding, it was about a cut to a core principle and value of who we are as a nation. And to call AmeriCorps waste, fraud, and abuse is absolutely insulting. To dismantle and gut and undermine AmeriCorps was unlawful. And 22 states brought that argument to a court. We presented our facts, we presented the law, and the court agreed with us. We need to protect, we must protect. It's part of who we are, it's part of our values, and we will continue to fight for it at the California Department of Justice.